was a good time. We shot that in Seattle. The Bikini Bunny's coming out, and our manager emceeing.
Robbin Crosby, the lead guitarist of heavy metal band Ratt, lived a tragic life filled with health issues and substance misuse that ultimately ended his life. Despite Robbin's musical success, you will be amazed to realize how much pain he passed through. Join us as we uncover the tragic details surrounding Robbin's life and death. Robbin Crosby was born in La Jolla, California, where he grew up with his two sisters, Riston and Bronley. As a child, he attended Bird Rock Elementary School before moving on to Muirlands Junior High. Later, he went to La Jolla High School, where he graduated in June 1976. Before becoming passionate about music, Robbin was an active baseball player. However, as he grew older, his love for the guitar became stronger, and he decided to focus on music instead. Robbin came from a family with a strong educational background. His father, Harry W. Crosby, was a well-respected science teacher at La Jolla High School. In addition to teaching, his father was also an author who wrote books about the history of California. Robbin Crosby always dreamed of becoming a rock star. He grew up in San Diego, where his passion for music started at a young age. During the 1970s, he played guitar in a local band called Mac Media. While performing with the band, he worked on early versions of two songs, Scene of the Crime and I'm Insane. These songs were just rough ideas at the time, but Robbin never gave up on them. Years later, both songs became part of Ratt's first album, proving how his creativity and hard work paid off. Now, let's explore more about his career. In the late 1970s, Robbin Crosby was an active musician, playing guitar in several bands in San Diego. He was always looking for opportunities to grow as a musician and perform in front of audiences. From 1977 to 1978, he was part of a band called Phenomenon, where he wrote a song titled The Final Word. The band recorded the song, and it was officially released in 1980. One of Crosby's bandmates in Phenomenon was Paramore McCarty, who later became a member of the band Warrior. During his time with Phenomenon, Crosby was determined to improve his guitar skills. He took lessons from Tom Beebe, a guitarist known for his incredible playing style, which was heavily influenced by Ritchie Blackmore of Deep Purple. These lessons helped Crosby refine his technique and grow as a musician. After Phenomenon disbanded, Crosby and the band's drummer joined another group called Metropolis from 1978 to 1979. They became well known on the La Jolla Beach circuit, playing covers of popular songs by Judas Priest and Robin Trower. Unfortunately, Metropolis didn't last long, and by 1979, the band broke up. Not one to give up, Crosby teamed up with former members of Phenomenon and Metropolis to form a new band called Secret Service. Around this time, he made a big move in his life. He relocated to Manhattan Beach, California, where he lived with his girlfriend, Tawny Kitayan. However, Secret Service was also short-lived, and in 1980, Crosby joined a band called Aircraft. That same year, Aircraft recorded a live demo which featured Rob Lamoth, a musician who later became known for his work with the band River Dogs, alongside Vivian Campbell, a guitarist who played with Dio, Whitesnake, and Def Leppard. In 1981, Aircraft changed its name to Mac Meta, a band that was managed by Crosby's brother-in-law. They recorded 6 songs under the Vulture record label in 1981, but unfortunately, the songs didn't lead to a breakthrough for the band. Even though they didn't find mainstream success, moving to the Los Angeles area gave Mac Meta a chance to be part of the city's exciting and fast-growing club scene. They played in several clubs, including the legendary Troubadour in West Hollywood, where they performed on May 7, 1981. This experience helped Crosby gain even more exposure and connections in the music industry, setting the stage for bigger opportunities in the years to come. Robbin Crosby was one of the founding members of a rock band called Mickey Ratt, which originally started in San Diego. As the band grew in popularity, they decided to shorten their name to simply Ratt. Crosby was not only a talented guitarist, but also a creative songwriter. He played a big role in shaping the band's music, co-writing several of their most famous songs, including Round and Round, Wanted Man, and Lay It Down. One of Ratt's biggest successes came with the release of their album, Out of the Cellar. The album became a massive hit, achieving triple platinum status, largely thanks to the success of the song Round and Round. This song became one of Ratt's signature tracks and helped them stand out in the growing glam metal scene of the 1980s. During the early years of Ratt, Crosby was in a long-term relationship with actress Tawny Kitaen. They had been together for 6 years when he officially joined the band. Kitaen even appeared on the album covers of Ratt's self-titled EP and Out of the Cellar, making her a recognizable part of the band's image. However, their relationship came to an end in 1984, shortly after the release of Out of the Cellar. As Ratt became more famous, Crosby's personal life changed as well. He purchased a home in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, where he enjoyed the glamorous lifestyle of a rock star. In 1987, he got married to Lori Carr, a Playboy playmate. However, their marriage did not last, and they divorced in 1991. The couple never had any children. When it came to his guitar playing, Crosby had a bluesy style, which made his sound different from other hard rock and metal guitarists of the time. He was heavily inspired by Jimi Hendrix, which gave Ratt's music a unique and melodic touch. By 1990, when Ratt was preparing to record a new album, Crosby's addiction had spiraled out of control. Realizing he needed help, he checked himself into rehab. However, his struggles with substance use were far from over. According to his brother-in-law, Crosby was addicted to so many substances. He went through rehab multiple times, but the battle against addiction was difficult, and his condition continued to worsen over the years. You might be wondering why Robbin became so popular because of Ratt, despite being involved with various bands. So, let's explore how he impacted the band. When Robbin Crosby and Stephen Pearcy moved to Los Angeles, both of their bands eventually fell apart. However, this turned out to be a blessing in disguise because it led to something much bigger: Ratt. The two musicians decided to join forces and started playing together under the name Ratt, a name that would soon become legendary in the world of rock and roll. In a 2011 interview with Noise Creep, Pearcy discussed Crosby's significant role in shaping Ratt's distinctive sound. He stated that he was the one who brought Crosby into the band, and that together they established the foundation of what became known as the Ratt sound. Pearcy also emphasized that in the band's early years, Crosby played a central role and was a key figure in their development. Crosby's guitar style and songwriting skills played a huge role in shaping the band's identity. As Ratt started to grow, the band went through several lineup changes before finally settling on the group of musicians who would take them to stardom. This final lineup included lead guitarist Warren DeMartini, drummer Bobby Blotzer, and bassist Juan Crocier. The combination of Crosby and DeMartini's guitars became one of the defining aspects of the band's music. Pearcy later spoke about the strong musical chemistry between the two guitarists, noting that Crosby had a unique style influenced by Billy Gibbons and Jimi Hendrix, which gave his playing a great sense of feel. In contrast, DeMartini had more of a technical guitar hero approach. He emphasized how well their styles complemented each other and acknowledged that DeMartini's rapid growth as a guitarist was undeniable. Not long after forming, Ratt began performing at Whiskey A Go-Go, one of the most famous rock clubs in Los Angeles. They became so popular there that they eventually earned the status of a house band, meaning they were regularly invited to play. This exposure led to an important moment in their career. They caught the attention of Marshall Burrell, the nephew of comedian and actor Milton Berle. Berle saw huge potential in the band and quickly signed them to his Time Communications record label. Under Burrell's guidance, Ratt released their first self-titled EP, which turned out to be a massive success. The EP sold so well that it grabbed the interest of several major record labels. Before long, the band landed a major recording contract with Atlantic Records, one of the biggest record labels in the industry at the time. With their new record deal, Ratt released their debut full-length album, Out of the Cellar. On the front cover of both their first EP and debut album was Tawny Kitaen, who was Crosby's girlfriend at the time. The album was an instant success, becoming the biggest album of their career. It went triple platinum, meaning it sold over 3 million copies. One of the biggest reasons for the album's massive success was the hit single Round and Round. The song received heavy airplay on MTV, which helped it reach the top 10 on the American music charts. The music video for Round and Round even featured Milton Berle himself, adding a fun and unexpected touch to the band's image. In 1984, Robbin Crosby explained to the San Diego Tribune that Ratt set itself apart from other hard rock bands by focusing on melody rather than getting lost in the typical heavy metal sound. He mentioned that their music was specifically designed to appeal to a female audience, as attracting that demographic was part of their plan. Instead of adopting a violent or rebellious image, the band aimed to incorporate intimate appeal into their lyrics and overall look. Even though Ratt was never able to match the success of Out of the Cellar, they still dominated the 1980s. The band continued to release albums that went platinum, establishing their place as one of the biggest glam metal bands of the decade. Their music, their style, and their impact on rock and roll ensured that Ratt would be remembered as one of the defining bands of the glam metal era. As Ratt continued to grow in popularity, tensions within the band also began to boil over. Frontman Stephen Pearcy and drummer Bobby Blotzer found themselves clashing over how their live performances should be handled. While they disagreed on the band's stage presence and performance style, another problem was developing behind the scenes. Robbin Crosby was struggling with his place in the band. Crosby, known as the King due to his imposing 6'5" stature, began to feel pushed aside within the group. Lead guitarist Warren DeMartini was gaining more attention, and Crosby felt like his role, both on stage and in the studio, was diminishing. This bruised his ego, and rather than confronting his emotions directly, he turned to substances and alcohol to cope. What started as a way to numb his feelings soon became a dangerous habit that took over his life. For a long time, Crosby managed to hide his substance addiction from his bandmates. But by 1990, it was catching up to him, and it began affecting his guitar playing. That same year, Ratt entered the recording studio to work on their next album, Detonator. Realizing that his addiction was spiraling out of control, Crosby made the difficult decision to enter rehab. Although he was able to record some parts for the album and received songwriting credits, this was the first Ratt album that failed to go platinum, only achieving gold status. After completing rehab, Crosby rejoined Ratt for their world tour, but staying sober on the road was incredibly difficult. He tried to keep it together, but his addiction proved too strong. His final performance with Ratt took place in early 1991 in Osaka, Japan. Before the show, his bandmates found him drinking an entire bottle of vodka backstage, a clear sign that he was in no shape to perform. During the concert, it became painfully obvious that he was struggling, and after that night, Crosby left the band for good. Following his departure, he returned to the United States and checked himself into rehab once again, but his stay was short-lived. Unable to fully recover, Crosby was soon replaced by former Scorpions guitarist Michael Schenker. The band itself wouldn't last much longer, as internal conflicts and the rising popularity of grunge music led to Ratt disbanding in 1992. Leaving the band didn't make things any easier for Crosby. His personal life started to unravel, and in 1991, he and his wife, Lori Carr, divorced. Despite his struggles with addiction, Crosby still wanted to stay in the music industry. He had dreams of becoming a producer, and he worked with a few bands, but his substance use prevented him from making real progress. In an interview for VH1's Behind the Music, he revealed that his substance habit had grown to a shocking 500 a day addiction. As if his battle with substance wasn't hard enough, Crosby was hit with devastating news. In 1994, he was diagnosed HIV positive. It was a moment that changed everything for him. For years, he kept his diagnosis private, but in 2001, during one of his last radio interviews, he finally shared his struggle with the world. Even after his health declined, Crosby still hoped for a chance to reunite with Ratt. In 1996, when the band considered reforming, Crosby was invited to move back to Los Angeles. At the time, he had been living in El Paso, Texas, and the idea of getting back on stage with his old bandmates excited him. Wanting to start fresh, he sold all of his belongings and prepared for a new beginning. However, When he finally rejoined the band for rehearsals, it quickly became clear that things wouldn't work out. Crosby had gained a significant amount of weight, and his substance use was still a major problem. His dream of reuniting with Ratt fell apart before it could even truly begin. When Ratt decided to reunite without Robbin Crosby, it was a crushing blow for him. He had hoped to rejoin his old bandmates, but instead, he was left out. Feeling hurt and betrayed, he spiraled even further into his struggles. However, let's examine what Robbin passed through when they disbanded. After years of success with Ratt, Robbin Crosby eventually left the band. Before stepping away completely, he also spent some time working as a producer for the metal band Lillian Axe, helping them with their music. In June 1999, Crosby gave a very personal and emotional interview for VH1's Behind the Music in an episode dedicated to Ratt. During the interview, Robbin Crosby spoke openly about his struggles with substance addiction and the devastating impact it had on his life. He reflected on the severe consequences of his substance use, acknowledging that it had taken away his career, his wealth, and even affected his personal relationships. He also revealed that his diagnosis with HIV had further impacted his life, emphasizing the heavy toll his addiction had caused. By 2001, Crosby made a public announcement, revealing that he had been living with HIV since 1994. He also confirmed that his condition had developed into AIDS. For nearly a decade, he had been in and out of the hospital, suffering from severe back problems and other serious health complications caused by the disease. Despite his struggles, Crosby refused to let his illness define him. He found ways to stay active and engaged, dedicating his time to things that gave him purpose. He became a little league coach, working with young baseball players and sharing his love for the sport. Additionally, he started a guitar fan and collector project where he worked on creating a limited edition run of Jackson King V Big Red replica guitars inspired by his own famous guitar. Even though he was no longer a part of Ratt, Crosby never lost his passion for music. He attempted several new musical projects, trying to reignite his career in different ways. One of his first post-Ratt efforts was reuniting with Perry McCarty, Chris Barato, Dino Guerrero, and Mark Lewis. Together they revived the name Secret Service, which was a band name Crosby had used before joining Ratt. In 1999, Crosby made another big change in his life. He moved to El Paso, Texas, where he briefly played with a country western band called War Party. While this was a different style of music from what he was used to, it showed his versatility as a musician. One of his final music projects before his passing was working with Juan Crucier, a former bandmate and ex-Ratt bassist. Even in his final years, Crosby remained deeply connected to the world of music, proving that his love for rock and roll never faded, no matter how much he had been through. Robbin Crosby played a major role in Ratt's success, helping to write some of their biggest hits, including Round and Round, Wanted Man, and Lay It Down. His talent as a songwriter and guitarist helped shape the band's signature sound, making them one of the most recognizable names in 1980s rock music. However, Crosby's life wasn't just about music. His personal relationships also gained attention. During his early years in Los Angeles, he was in a long-term relationship with Tawny Kitaen, an aspiring actress and model. The two had started dating when they were teenagers in San Diego, and after finishing high school, they moved to Los Angeles together, both chasing their dreams of fame and success. Crosby once described his relationship with Kitaen as strong and full of love in the beginning, comparing it to something sweet and beautiful. However, over time, their relationship changed as both became increasingly focused on their careers. Crosby was occupied with touring and recording with Ratt, while Kitaen was dedicated to advancing her career in Hollywood. Their busy schedules made it difficult for them to spend time together, and eventually, they stopped being exclusive. Around this time, rumors began to spread that Kitaen was involved with football star O.J. Simpson. These rumors caused tension between her and Crosby, making their already strained relationship even more difficult. Crosby later revealed that he wasn't happy about Kitaen seeing other people, no matter who they were. What made things worse was that O.J. Simpson himself was reportedly not happy about Kitaen still seeing Crosby. According to Crosby, Simpson was furious that Kitaen remained in contact with him. Crosby even heard that Simpson had warned Kitaen, telling her he didn't want her to see him. At one point, Crosby even feared for his own safety. When asked in an interview if he was afraid that O.J. Simpson would attack him, Crosby admitted that he didn't want to risk a physical fight with the famous athlete. He expressed his concern about the situation, admitting that he feared for his safety. Although he was not a small man, he acknowledged that Simpson was known for overpowering individuals even larger than himself. As his relationship with Tawny Kitaen fell apart, Crosby eventually moved on with his life. In 1987, he married Lori Carr, who was a Playboy playmate. This marked a new chapter in his personal life, but challenges still lay ahead. Even though Ratt was enjoying massive success, selling out huge arenas and thrilling rock fans across the world, tensions were beginning to grow within the band. Behind the scenes, internal conflicts and personal struggles were starting to take a toll, creating problems that would soon affect the group's future. His health continued to decline, and by 2001, he gave a revealing interview to music journalist Mitch Lafon, where he openly spoke about the severe impact his lifestyle had on his body. Crosby revealed that his years of hard partying had severely impacted his health, stating that his pancreas had stopped functioning properly, making it difficult for his body to metabolize food. He expressed frustration over his condition, comparing himself to his much lighter roommate who ate more than he did. Despite his struggles, he felt disheartened as his body continued to deteriorate. During the same interview, Crosby revealed that he was living in hospice care, a place meant for those with terminal illnesses. Tawny Kitaen confirmed the news as she remained in contact with Crosby during the final months of his life. In an interview, she shared that she frequently visited him at the nursing home. She explained that he could no longer stay at Cedars-Sinai Hospital because his size made it difficult for the beds to accommodate him. As a result, he was moved to a retirement home where he could receive better care. One of Crosby's close friends in his final years, Kurt Dudley, later shared his experiences with the guitarist online. Dudley revealed that Crosby was deeply saddened that even though his former bandmates lived only about 30 minutes away from him, they rarely visited. This lack of support from his old friends added to his loneliness. By May of 2002, Crosby's condition worsened. Dudley noticed the signs, realizing that the end was near when Robbin moved in with an old partying friend. Just 1 month later, on June 6, 2002, the world received the heartbreaking news. Robbin Crosby had passed away from an overdose at the age of 40. Even though his life was filled with struggles, Crosby had come to terms with his fate years before. In a 1999 interview with VH1's Behind the Music, Crosby expressed how he wanted to be remembered. He stated that he did not want anyone to mourn his death, but instead celebrate his life. He reflected on his experiences, saying he had lived the life of 10 men and had achieved all his dreams and more. After his passing, his bandmate and longtime friend Stephen Pearcy reflected on his loss in an interview with Classic Rock Revisited. He spoke warmly about Crosby's influence on the band, describing him as their leader and an important part of their success. He expressed deep sorrow over his loss, calling him a soldier who had fallen in the rock and roll world. He also acknowledged that Crosby's passing was a tragedy, but likely not the last of its kind in the music industry. Though his life ended too soon, Robbin Crosby left behind a lasting legacy. He was a key figure in one of the biggest rock bands of the 1980s, and despite his troubles, he lived a life full of passion, music, and unforgettable moments. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.